I appreciate you guys taking the time to do this.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you.
Grace, let me start with you. I'm curious what your reaction was when you saw the script, because typically in shows like this, you would expect, oh, Lucy's the heroine, she's this person who's been abused by this guy. And the farther you get into the show, you realize, no, she has some real broken aspects to her.
Yes, absolutely. That's what I loved about it, is that you really saw both perspectives, which I feel like in a lot of TV and movies, you see one person's experience and their side of it, and you really see both sides of the story and how both are just as guilty, and just as involved. And I loved that part about it.
Jackson's sort of the same way. Your character has a lot more nuance and levels than you typically see in shows like this. And you start to get a sense of not so much, oh, Jackson's this secretly nice guy, but you realize why he's broken and what happened. And I just was talking with someone else about episode 5 and the scene where you're at home for Christmas and your mom is doing this Jedi mind trick on you to get you to pick the restaurant. And you realize at that moment, this is why this guy's so screwed up.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
So as an actor, what's it like to sort of, I would assume it's fun to do that sort of character where you have a lot of layers to it.
Hell yeah. I mean, it's like what Grace was saying, like you don't get to see that kind of perspective a lot. I feel like the traditional antagonist like doesn't get that much of an internal dialogue, and that's why this is pretty interesting to go into that and see what makes him tick, where he comes from, what his trauma is. And I think that episode buys him a lot of sympathy. Sympathy is not the right word, like empathy, just understanding of where he comes from and what that was like for him, and why he decides to externalize all his emotions and project on people and manipulate. It's like, you see where he comes from.
Grace, Lucy, sort of throughout the show, you can see her switch on and off her empathy. She'll be in this scene where she's talking to someone and she's super sweet, and you just see this look on her face, and she's the cold one now. But that 5th episode was also the scene that sort of crystallized her for me, when that scene where you're in bed and you're describing what happened to your dad, and your reaction, you just realize, wow, Lucy has some issues that are more than just she lacks a little empathy in relationships.
Yes, she has so much trauma that is not examined, that she has not processed. And just like Stephen, she projects it onto other people, and that creates an inability to connect with anybody, because she's not connected with herself and her own emotions. And even in that scene where she tells Max about her dad, his reaction makes her close off right away. And I think it's because vulnerability is so scary for her. She's never told anybody that story because she's holding it so tight within herself. And that's why she's so drawn to Stephen, because he completely unlocks all of these emotions that she has not been able to reach, and she mistakes that for love.
Certainly one of the relationships that's the most flawed is the one between Lucy and her mom. And there are so many times in the show, even in that episode, where you just think, if you guys would just talk to each other for 5 minutes, a lot of this would go away, but neither one of you are going to do it.
Yeah, I think that's the message of the entire show. If anyone were to just talk about it, then none of this would have happened. I think that's the big thing.
Yep.
See, and Stephen, sorry.
That's okay.
Jackson, it's certainly one of the things about Stephen is sort of the same way. Yeah. People have no idea what his home life is like. Mm-hmm. And if he was able to share that with Lucy or with anyone, I think it would go a long way towards making it better for him, but he's just unable to do it too.
Yeah. And he sees a certain safety with some other characters maybe he's able to talk to, but he, for whatever reason, he can't express that to her, and it makes him lock up, and it creates this mystery. What's so cool about this story, though, is that what she's seeing as mystery like you flip the perspective around and you see it's just really sad and it's just really tense and anxious, and that's what he's going through. And then from her side, it's just unknown and mysterious and manipulative. And then it's just a really cool back and forth where you get to see all sides of it.
Well, I really enjoyed, I've seen the first 5 episodes, really enjoyed that, and felt a lot better about my life after watching it. So
Yeah,
That's the goal.
that's great. I'm
so
happy.
congratulations. I appreciate you guys taking the time to
Thank
do
you,
this.
Rich.
Thanks
Thank
a lot.
you so much. Nice to meet you.
Bye.